Hey soldiers, we've got a food and energy crisis brewing all throughout the Western world. Can you believe Uber Eats and DoorDash have a buy now, pay later arrangement? There is a supermarket in the UK that is actually offering shoppers grocery loans. And they're UK citizens right now because of the energy crisis throughout Europe. There are UK citizens that are getting $10,000 electric bills. Now, juxtapose this against the backdrop of Saudi Arabia saying that they're going to probably prosecute an oil output contraction. They're going to pump less oil as we go into the winter months. Why are they going to do that? Because they like money and they know that they're going to drive the price up, okay, if they constrain supply. So what can we do about this? Well, we're soldiers of finance. We don't sit back and take things lightly. Now, do we?
So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Okay, so when we talk about what we're going to do about it, let me just put this out there. I do not care if you are gay, straight. I don't care if you are black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I don't care if you were born here. I don't care if your ancestors were dragged here. I don't care if, you immigrated voluntarily, walked over the border. I don't care. I am not with this constant American drumbeat of division because it's used as a tool of the elites. They do it because they know the more we're at each other's throats, the less attention we will pay to them. Now, as an example of that, the United States government just ordered NVIDIA, the chip maker, to stop sales to Russia and China. Guess what? Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, miraculously, he just happened to sell all of his shares a couple of weeks ago. Isn't that fortuitous? Yeah, pillow talk will go a long way. So, see, we're not supposed to pay attention to this developing kleptocracy that is developing and growing within America. We're supposed to be at each other's throat, and I'm just not going to play that game. So as soldiers of finance, what we need to do is understand what's going on and then focus our attention on profiting. And one of the ways we profit is by making sure we've got the right kind of representation in Washington, D.C. and these other legislatures, whether they be your local legislature or your state, and especially the country, okay? Okay, so let's talk about Saudi Arabia and what they're doing with regard to mulling over a contraction in the supply of oil. Oil settles up more than 4% on the prospect of OPEC plus supply cut. Oil prices settled up on Monday, extending last week's gain as potential OPEC plus output cuts and conflict in Libya helped to offset a strong U.S. dollar and a dire outlook for U.S. growth. Let me stop there because Libya is a basket case. And most of that is brought on by, again, America and us having our hands involved in something and just getting tired of it and throwing it aside, okay? You remember what happened, Muammar Gaddafi. He was a dictator. I'm not with the dictator thing. But I will say this. If your country has a dictator, it ain't up to my country to overthrow him. You guys got to get together and do that on your own. But America went in, as they so often do, destabilize things. And now we've got a Libya that is not even really, it's just a collection of warring factions at this point that also happen to have oil reserves, okay? And they can play a major role in manipulation of the price of oil. And do you really think they give a damn about citizens of Europe or the United States? Absolutely not. They care about money. Saudi Arabia, top producer in the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, last week raised the possibility of production cuts, which sources said could coincide with a boost in supply from Iran should it clinch a nuclear deal with the West. So Iran's willing to play ball if they get something in return, the nuclear deal. So they're saying, hey, we want some nuclear weapons. Okay, we're sitting on all of this oil, and sure, we could power our society with it, but we want some nuclear weapons because we want to be taken seriously as a player in this, global circus that is going on right now. And the U.S. is fool enough to make that happen. Oil prices are inching higher on hopes of a production cut from OPEC and its allies to restore market balance in response to the revival of Iran's nuclear deal, said Sugandha Sakdeva, vice president of commodity research at Erlanger Brookings. Now, when they say balance, they simply mean, look, Iran, if you're going to do this thing with America, where you're going to agree to pump more oil, then we're going to pump less. Because we don't want a glut out there that's going to drive prices way down. We still like our gold toilet seats and our G5s and, all of that. We got to keep that going. And from the standpoint of Saudi Arabia and some of the other Emirate countries, they've got to keep their citizenry happy. Those countries have generous state benefits. And if those go away or are decreased in any great deal, then the citizens are going to get restless, okay? So they've got to keep that up. Now, what is this going to look like in America and in the West? Well, you already know. If you've got to put something on a truck or a train or a ship, or you got to harvest it at a farm or plant it, all of those things take diesel fuel, okay? And even if you put it on a plane, it takes a derivation of oil to get that plane in the sky and from A to B. So those costs are going to be passed on, as we saw earlier in the year, if OPEC cuts back on production. And that'll continue to drive the prices of everything up. Now, food has gone up 10.9% July over July, year over year. They said there was no inflation, but food, the most important thing that you could buy, is actually up 10.9% year over year. And it's going to go higher if these oil prices indeed go higher. So that's one of the outcomes that we will see. Now, we're also seeing Vladimir Putin. He's playing hardball. And he's saying that you guys are not getting any of this natural gas if you continue down this road. And that is resulting in $10,000 bills coming to homes in the UK. Brits face substantial energy bill increase. Here's what's happening and what could be coming. All right, a cap on annual energy price is set to rise more than 3,500 euros this fall and over 4,000 next year, a level considered unaffordable to a majority of households. So in addition to the Russian constraints, the governments are also following a green agenda and making energy more expensive, okay, because there is less of it. You're not going to get as much from wind and solar as you're going to get from coal, natural gas, oil, and nuclear, okay? It's just a fact. Look it up. Don't be mad at me. I love the idea of renewable energy, but right now it's just not practical to think you can power our society, our global society, on those technologies. We're not there yet. The current package of government support is widely viewed as inadequate, but further plans look set to be delayed until new prime minister is elected on September 5th. So the people are held in the balance again. Listen, this is what we need to be thinking about as soldiers of finance. One of the things we need to be thinking about. I do not give financial advice on this channel, but I certainly do give political advice. It is clear that there is an ideology that just is not in favor of macroeconomic principles, okay? They're out there trying to change the definition of the term recession to meet their needs. Forget you and what you're going through. Let's change the definition of recession because we got an election coming up, okay? And sadly, the media has by and large followed that lead instead of standing up like I'm doing on this channel and saying, yes, we are in a recession. And we're in a recession based on the definition that you all have used and have been using for the past 50 years. You love the definition so much that I've even showed on the channel how they applied the definition to periods before 1974, which was when the definition came out. So there is a composer. I was listening to some classical music in the car. It's very soothing. It's very calming. And the disc jockey, can you even call them a disc jockey if they're on a classical music station? Anyway, they were talking about this guy, Dmitri Shostakovich, a Russian composer. And he was kind of lamenting the fact because he was, in vogue during the time of Stalin. And in vogue is probably the wrong word because he gave a concert and Stalin did not like it. and he turned this whole thing into, not far from, I just didn't like the music, to a big political to-do, okay? And Shostakovich was basically lamenting the fact that everything had become so political, every single thing. And there was a period of music throughout classical music in Russia that turned into, an ongoing series of political statements. And that's kind of where we are now. Shostakovich actually, Stalin didn't like that concert, and he ended up kind of canceling. Okay, that's the term we would use today, canceling Shostakovich for a while. And that's what we do here today, right? When we don't like something someone says, we don't critically think about it and go into debate mode with them intellectually. No, we just close our ears. We don't want to hear it. And when I say we, I'm not talking about us. You know what I'm talking about. So I say all that to say, listen, you've got an ideology in this country, America, and throughout the Western world. It's insane. Okay, and since we worry about money here, we're not into changing definitions, because we know that while they think they can change the definition of the word recession, I cannot go into Wells Fargo tomorrow or into Bank of America or Chase and say, hey guys, listen, I have redefined the word multimillionaire. I am now one. So even though I don't have anything on paper, I fully identify as a multi-billionaire, and I would like to take out a loan commensurate with my new status. It doesn't work, okay? So if it doesn't work for us, let's not let it work for them. What we can do is say, you know what? We're going to start examining these politicians and pinning them down on their stance on the economy. If you've got a politician who is predilected toward tax and spend, deep six them, okay? Because that's taking money out of your pocket. We got to be really, really focused on that. So listen, I don't tell anybody how to vote, but I can tell you one thing. When you go in the voting booth, why don't you take your wallet in as the number one issue, okay? Because without your economic liberty, you have nothing, all right? And we've seen over the past 2 years, we've seen an administration that is very, they're in attack mode as far as their policies with regard to taxation, that fiscal policy. So do with that what you will. We've got people that are in such dire straits in this country and in others that they're giving out loans for food, okay? Loans for food. Think about that. All right. And I think that if that's the reality, we really, really need a change in policy. Politics is not the end all to be all. Okay. But we certainly don't want government standing in our way. Right. So throw the bums out. Okay, guys. And if you want to take a look at some malfeasance in government, take a look at this video we just did recently. It talks about how the U.S. military is running low on ammunition and equipment. Yes, that U.S. military, the one that has the tremendous budget, more so than several other countries combined. Yeah. And think about what I just said when you watch that video about how government is really not cutting the mustard these days. We need a change. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.